Bucko, Marty Bucko, hello, and welcome to you back in Marty Bucko's kitchen. Cup of tea, and this is a bit of an update of various things that I've noticed over the weeks. So, as you remember, I've been in St Ives, Cornwall, on holiday with Janie, and I always wanted one of these navy fisherman's pullovers with all the naval patterns on it, and really thick and warm, because we're going to have more than likely I would imagine, a rough winter if we've had a bit of a heat wave. So the weather's a bit cooler, and I'm just going to touch on a few bits of the holiday that after I made the videos, these things sort of happened. So firstly, as I said, I always wanted these things. So when I brought them and I went into the counter for the shop assistant, she says, you're looking very nautical. Nautical. Not naughty, although I can be naughty as well. But yes, what do you think? Do I look an old sea dog? Don't answer that, please. Thank you. And as I shared on the videos in St Ives, I touched on the things that had changed a bit. You know, there were combination locks on doors of properties you rent. There was locks on bins. And there was, there was more dogs being pushed around in pushchairs. And there was, as I said, because you see lots of different dogs from the tourists, you know, all these expensive type of dogs, and end up pushing them around in these little pushchairs. Probably didn't want them stepping on or so. I don't know what it was, but I'd never noticed it like this. But there was one dog who had 3 legs, walking with its owner, hopping along. You know, poor thing. At times these sorts of accidents happen. They have to have a leg off, whether they got hit by a car or something, I don't know what. But he was walking along on the pavement as other dogs were being, with 4 legs, were being pushed along. Oh dear. Yeah. Let me think. Yeah, on the, I remember there was one evening at 10 o'clock that all these fireworks were going to go off in honour of the Queen's 70th. Well, I touched on my thoughts on all of that. But in the property we were staying, there was we were in the attic part of the room. And as you looked out the bedroom window, you could overview the roofs. And not very far away, there was some seagulls with this flat roof, and they had 2 little chicks, and they were feeding them. One would go off in the morning, every morning, and I brought Janie a cuppa, and we'd sit, discuss, and have a time of prayer, think on things, and read the Word of God, and just enjoy the morning. And we'd look out, and these little seagulls were sitting, and you'd see the mum or the dad come in, feed them, then it'd clear off, and then the other one would take over. Anyway, when the fireworks were going on, bang, 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 I wasn't bothered with all that. I've never been one for fireworks myself. If you like them, fair enough. But I don't like them personally that much. And I was more concerned because I went and looked out how the little baby seagull's going to react to this. Well, the mum and dad were gone. I think it scared them off properly. They were gone. And I thought, oh my goodness. And that's the sort of person I am. I'm more concerned with the little wildlife than with, a load of firecrackers. So, and before we went on holiday, we had two little blue tits had made a nest in the air vent. There was something on the side of the house, the back garden near the kitchen windows, and they were going in from the sides, and it goes back into the wall, you see, and they'd had a little... they gave us many hours of pleasure watching them. There's a little nest in the back there, and they would come and go. But that one didn't have a happy ending, and the cat... There's so many cats in the neighbourhood. You do your best to keep an eye and try and chase the cats off, but it was very upsetting for me and Janie, that one, when we found out. It made her cry. And to be honest, it did me as well, because I'm just a big softie. So, but yeah, we loved the wildlife. We even had a fox on top of the shed the other day. Janie saw him, I was in bed. She said, come and have a look at the fox. I said, well, I'm all right. Sooner just go back to sleep. But I should have done, really, because I've never seen one on top of the shed before. Yeah. Anyway, here's another one. When we were in St Ives on holiday, we were walking along by the that's right, it was the Porthmuir beach. And there was this sign on a door. And basically it was like against the Tories. It used a swear word. I'm not going to repeat it for sensitive ears like my own. But it said, Tories. Oh, goodness, I thought, I've never seen that before. Yeah. Anyway, I think it was that very evening, Jane was looking on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. She's not been on it. She comes and goes, that's it. But she was looking at it on a St Ives site, you see, that talks about St Ives and this and that. And she knows one of the ladies there who runs this. And lo and behold, they were all talking about the Prime Minister at the time, Johnson, who, according to all of them, was seen on Porthminster Beach with his little lad. Now, we were on the same beach at certain times, but we didn't see him. Anyway, this chap said, and there was loads of comments on it, because we know that previously, was it the G7 or G5 or something like that, had been in Carbis Bay, St Ives area in Cornwall for their gathering of the maniacs, discussing what they're going to do with this all. And so we knew that had gone on a while back. But we didn't know that Johnson would be there when we were there. Now, if that's all correct, anyway, this chap says he walked over to Johnson and asked him the time and then realised who he was. Goodness. Now, here's a question for you. Well, it's a question for me, Bucko. What would you have done, son, if you'd have seen him? If you'd have been that chap? And he said, you know what, there were no security around. I didn't see nobody around him. So what would you have said if you'd have bumped into him? Would you just be gobsmacked? Would you just not know what to say? Would you just go, I don't know, I was spared from that. Yes. Now, a few comments. Well, a comment on the comments, really. I want to say, for everyone who leaves a comment, whether it's on, well, yeah, it is YouTube, because they're the ones that are censored, basically, aren't they? They are removed often. And I want to apologise in the sense there's nothing I can do, because I know people's comments have been disappearing. Once you get a few baseball strikes and a few other things, like I did a talk on have they announced the new WORLD order, and they put a caption underneath that this is a conspiracy theory. Well, I think they watch even more closely at times when things like that happen, and they just remove the comments. As you know these things, but I want to say I'm sorry, because it's on my site. I don't have control over them, and they have taken away people's comments. And I've had to go into the YouTube studio thing and then go into comments which are all unseen to the general viewer. And I just see them, so many of them, taken down. And if you try to speak or acknowledge it, they'll take that down as well. So the whole comment will even disappear in the hidden section. Nothing I can do about it. All I can say is I'm sorry. And I wish people don't deserve that. They take the time to view the video. They take the time to leave a comment. And I just want to say it's not Bucko being rude. It's not Bucko. I don't think I have ever deleted one comment. Not one. So I'm really, sorry about that. But I'm sure you all understand and know. And if yours disappears, you know why. You know it's not Bucko removing them. So, swig of tea. Okay, you remember when Lee Marshall from Veritas Vintet, he was talking on one of his, can't remember which one it was, about the effect on people, on their minds, of driving, of wearing this, of all the things, people stepping out and into, oncoming vehicles and all this. And I want to share on, and he mentioned about, he went to pay respects at a graveyard of a friend, and a council worker that cutting the grass deliberately, in his own world, came across, and as he's standing at the grave, he's mowing all the grass and that, and he had to say stop. Just not too long back, I'm walking down the road here in the town where I live, Wednesbury, West Midlands, and I see in the distance on the opposite side of the road two lads, probably about teenagers, bit older. Both coming out and then going their separate ways. One in his phone walking down the pavement, opposite side of the road. And the other one just literally walked across the road, and this is a busy road, without looking left or right, in this, and I see a car coming fast. And the car, because he's alert, and just walked across. No sign of anything. Had he knocked him over, I could say, well, I would have been a witness. The young man walked across the road without looking, in his phone, utterly. And so I come to some incidents of a day when I went on the trains, because my particular lift to work was off. So early morning, I'm standing at the Tyne Bridge Parkway, which is the Wednesbury train station, basically. And I'm there early, before the ticket box office has opened. So I'm standing there, and this lady walks up. Now, I know what she's going to do, so I'm trying to be helpful. I say, she's going to push that door. I said, excuse me, love, it's locked. They're going to open in a bit. So she still pushes it, and then she walks just as though I'm not there at all. No acknowledgement of anything. Goes to the ticket machine, and she has some sort of number she has to put in. And then she comes to me, can you help me with this? Because I says, well, I don't know how to do that, but the office will soon be open then. And then a young man walks up and he does it. I say exactly the same to him. And again, he's like, he tests the door, looks through me, doesn't acknowledge nothing, and he goes off. I'm on the train, yeah, and everyone is so in their phones that the inspector coming round is going like this over people. He's actually doing this in front of them to get their attention. And then when I get to Birmingham New Street and I'm waiting for my connection, there's a lady wandering around with a phone like this on the platform. Now, it's becoming ridiculous, isn't it? And here's the thing, why are people like this? Don't they want to interact with human beings anymore? Are they more comfortable just being in this? Or are they in such fear of everything and everyone that everyone is a potential terrorist? Everyone's a potential mugger. Everyone is I don't know. I shall continue to be human to the end. I can't answer for these people though. And then what a day that was. Eh? What a day. And then coming back, what about this? I'm walking to the train station, Norborough, from my workplace in Whetstone. And there's a commotion behind me. And it's a guy on a bike. And so he shouts, oh, it's good. Do you know? He doesn't get the answer he wants from the person. So he shouts to me, and I'm way down distance. Anyway, I stop and I turn around. You know the time, mate? My time, I don't have a watch, so my phone was in my rucksack on my back. So I stop. I take my rucksack off, get the mobile phone to tell him the time, and he drives off even further away, and he parks up down the drive of this house. And I'm thinking, well, he can't even be bothered to stand there when I shout him that. Oh, I thought, no, leave it out, mate, if you're having a laugh. And I thought to myself, why? What? Anyway, I just shrugged my shoulders and carried on walking. He couldn't even wait. He had to go further away and then park down someone's drive and shout after me again. I thought to myself, why don't he get in his own house? He must have some connection with the house. He must either live there or something. But there's got to be a time in that house. Why is he shouting to me down the road? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, what's next then, Booker? Well, I was in the Lidl supermarket, right? And they gave me one of these. And at first thought, when I shared this with Phil, he says, yeah. I said, do you see the colour of it? Yeah. He says, I thought it was just a bad receipt patch. It gone a bit grey instead of the white ones. But this is a new type, shiny, something on it. And it says, our new little receipt is more environmentally friendly than ever before. Sustainable. Long life. Recyclable. Little changes for the better. Yeah, all right. You globalists. Yeah, I'd love to send this, to a laboratory to have it analysed for what chemicals are on this. And in in Wednesbury, me and Janie, we went to see the grandkids. They were doing a little playing musical instruments within the primary school that they were at, and the parents and relatives, etc., were there watching. So we went along to this particular primary school, And it was nice. It all went well. They all did very well for their ages, and it was good. And afterwards, I was walking. That's right, looking at the pictures on the walls and things, and it had famous people from Wednesbury. You know, whether it was a footballer or somebody. Now, bearing in mind, Wednesbury, most of you wouldn't know where it was. We're in the Black Country, right? And it's not too far from West Bromwich, right? It's a sleepy little town. Its best days, as it were, are in the past, with whatever factory work and stuff that they had in those days. And it's a tired little town that, like most towns, like Dudley and other places in the Black Country, they need a burst of life in you know. So I noticed a face I was familiar with from films. Now, do you remember this face in films, British films? Do you remember him? Now, I bet many of you can't put a name to him straight away, can you? Come on, be honest. But you recognise the face in numerous films. And I'm talking about Richard Wattis. And it says there, born 25th of February 1912, Wednesbury, Staffordshire. Yeah? You remember him, don't you? Now, the reason I've pointed this out is because the films he's been in and the movie stars he's acted with, even though he's a supporting actor and not a major star, is phenomenal. If I said to you he's been in films with Marilyn Monroe and Laurence Olivier, he's been in war films with all the big movie stars, Robert Mitchum, Henry Fonda, John Wayne. He's been in all these films, Longest Day, war films. He's been in comedies, St. Trinian's films. He's been in Carry-Ons, all the Ealing films. Loads of stuff. And he's been with Patrick McGowan in that other TV series, Danger Man. All these people. How is somebody from Wednesbury ended up in that position? So I looked a bit deeper into it, and his uncle was a member of Parliament for 5 years. Oh, it may not be what you know, but who you know, isn't it? And guess what? When he was in the army, the Second World War, guess who he worked with? Ian Fleming, the James Bond author. What a coincidence. I've done coincidences, haven't I, on my last talk. But yeah, just makes you think. I thought that was an interesting one. The connections people have to get in the positions that they have. And then on the TV, I was thinking to myself, I mean, for ages this was going on. I would see adverts with those meerkats on it. You know, the Sergei, and I thought, well, is this war in the Crimea going on? Why have they got Russian meerkats? That's a good thing. What? I mean, in the Second World War, would you have advertisements? Yes, come and eat it. You know, Fritz's beer keller in London. Yes, come to Fritz's, have Kartoffelsalat und ja, warum nicht? Yes. Oh, no, you wouldn't get that. And there's this going on. They're promoting. And on the one hand, they're supposedly banning this, that, and the other. Sanctions and this, that, and the other. And then on the other hand, this was carrying on with the meerkats. Sergei and all this deep Russian accent. And then they pretend it's nothing to do with Russia. It is. It's complete nonsense. What about that clip with Joe Biden turning round and shaking hands with someone who wasn't even there? What do you make of that? I mean, all of these things are theatre, obviously. Is he really senile? Is it just theatre? Falling off his bike? And all these things? Theatre. All the world is a stage. I think I've said enough. 25 minutes is too long, really. But I've had to say these things. And so, God bless you all. Be good. I'm sure you all are. And be seeing you.